Was the release of a new COVID drug delayed by 6 months to avoid a culture war? And if that is true, what does that tell us about our current politics and apparent objectivity? Can we just face facts and reality without it being webbed into some tribal madness? Can we awaken from this delusion, from this insanity? Can we? Just to clarify, the drug we're talking about is Molnupiravir, which is made by Merck, who are seeking US emergency approval for an antiviral COVID pill. So we're not talking about any alternative treatment or anything that may not get the necessary approval for continual broadcast. Matt Taibbi, writing in Substack, says, if Molnupiravir turns out to be the game changer its developers claim it is, a lot of officials and journalists will have a lot of questions to answer, since this drug's release may have been delayed by 6 months or more after it became collateral damage last year to yet another idiotic anti-Trump culture war drama. Now, I know a lot of you like Trump, and you know that my feelings are transcendent of ordinary political boundaries. I believe in devolution and power in your own lives. But I remember saying to you before, and I'll say it to you again, that we could regard the last 10 years as the conditions that preceded Trump, the Trump era and the post-Trump era, almost as one continuum. What happened during that time? Rather than focusing on the individual, what was the cultural phenomena? Now, it seems that a drug that it seems, at least now, might be successful in treating coronavirus was delayed. For what ends? For what aims? What financial aims? What cultural aims can you point to that may have led to the delay of an effective treatment during this pandemic? Say, for example, and it seems roughly to be drawn along these lines, you broadly speaking, although I would say I'm completely outside all of them and have no opinion to offer you, particularly not on the matter of the pandemic or how to treat medical situations in general and this one specifically, that Democrats feel like, you know, that it's important to treat pharmautically the virus, whereas, you know, again, generally speaking, Republicans think individual freedom, individual choice, that's it, you know, very general, just general thing, but the statistics support that. We can point to those. You would say that the Democrats ought to have been hastening the advance, experimentation and trials of Molnupiravir. Why can't they call it the anti-COVID drug? Molnupiravir. That it should have been handled objectively and scientifically. It's interesting, isn't it, to see how science is not separate from culture. It's housed in culture. The culture, whether that's bipartisan political culture or the broader financial and economic culture. So, Robert Kadlec said it could have been out 6 months ago. He's a former Assistant Secretary for Preparedness and Response at the Department of Health and Human Services. It would have been a game changer. It would have saved tens of thousands of lives. The story about Molnupiravir's route toward approval is a textbook example of how politicians and press in the Trump era have fallen into a pattern of treating the exact same set of facts in different, even opposite ways, depending on who they perceive to be the beneficiary of the news. That's mad. That's actual madness. Like, you can paint something a colour and then people will respond to it a different way. This fact is red. Boo! This fact is blue. Hey! Last year, when Trump was president, Molnupiravir was bad, dangerous science, an evil twin to hydroxychloroquine. Now it's a pharmaceutical superhero coming to the rescue. If the drug does turn out to prevent death, a not insignificant portion of the lives that were lost waiting for its arrival will be on the politicians and press figures who railed against it. I mean, I suppose this is why my faith, my belief, my allegiance is to neither of the political parties, neither. Because in the areas where one is right and the other one is wrong, or where, you know, who's to say right or wrong, where it chimes more with me and this one chimes more than me, I just feel like the whole thing is a mess when I hear something like that, that because of political biases, a fact was contained, curtailed, controlled, delayed, that would have been beneficial to people. It makes me, I mean, it's sort of obvious, it's the way things are, but I find it almost debilitating to contemplate. The Wall Street Journal said, Trump officials pushed for government funding to accelerate the development of the drug Molnupiravir. They were opposed by Rick Bright, whom Democrats praised as a whistleblower. Mr. Bright filed a complaint accusing Trump officials of pressuring him to fast-track unsafe drugs and award contracts based on political connections and cronyism. That's unfortunate, but I feel like, in a sense, both political parties behave in comparable ways in various arenas of public life. But there were aspects of the cultural world that were so frenzied around Trump that it became impossible to, because of, for some reasons for which I'm sort of sympathetic towards, people become kind of delirious. And this delirium, it's not the right space to be in. I think we have to really radically address the way that the media operates, the way that politics operates, essentially, like a few suggestions: no profit from medicine, no advertising that could influence government policy, no lobbying within government. I mean, like that. These are just, without really making significant changes, these are like tomorrow morning type changes. Back to Matt Taibbi. Bright was immediately hailed as a hero by the press. Reporters universally described him as a man of principle who had taken a stand on behalf of science against the bleach-guzzling witch doctor profiteers of the Trump administration. Virtually every news outlet that covered the story found ways to denigrate the drug as if its alleged political affiliation spoke to its scientific utility. Once again, political reporting took on the characteristics of prophecy, in this case, apparently failed prophecy. Wow, that's really interesting. And while I have no knowledge or opinions on matters of this nature due to the restrictions and obligations I have as a broadcaster, I would say that what this points to is a kind of cultural delirium that many people have been subject to, that we have to awaken from the dream of these tribalized ideas to once again discover a kind of virtue and real truth. We can't continually be looking at reality through the lens of pre-existing biases, hard though that is for any of us to do. Our ideas, our focus, our intent must be towards solution, shared solution. I would like to declare a kind of armistice, to just say, should we just move on beyond this? Isn't it clear in so many areas of public life, in geopolitics, in ecology, that we're on the precipice of crisis, that this is no time to be arguing amidst one another? Let us summons once again the philosopher's faithful friend, the extraterrestrial invader that comes down here to take over. And suddenly, what are we going to do? Well, excuse me, take over this lot first. Don't take over this lot. Us lot are great. When are we going to unify as a people, as a species, as inheritors of and custodians of this planet? When are we going to look beyond the imposed myopia that our culture gives us, whatever side of this war you identify with? When are you going to awaken to the reality of yourself? When can I awaken to the reality of myself, to become the person I was intended to be, so we can create the societies we could? Harmony with one another and nature, freedom to be who we actually are, not tyrannized by the financial requirements of others. We are being hugely distracted. We have set the bar far too low if all you care about is this party or that party. We can do better, and we must call upon great spirits, no matter what your religious tradition or lack of religious tradition. We must summons it to the forefront if we are to create a world worthy of ourselves, worthy of each other, worthy of our children. But that's just my opinion. Why don't you tell me what you think in the comments below? Give this video a little thumbs up if you would care to. Share it around if you think that's the right thing to do. Become a subscriber to my YouTube channel, thanks to the over 4 million of you that already are. Please go over to my side channel, Awakening, and watch this video, a little meditation video, and have a look at this one if you enjoyed the one I've just done. And importantly, click here to become a member of my mailing list community so I can send you a bulletin each week. Meantime, stay free.